So today what I'd like to do is give you a quick introduction to our angle project. Okay, so now before we get started, you should have these 3 pieces of paper in front of you. You should have like the answer document where there's a whole bunch of blanks. You should also have 2 papers that look very similar. This one up here has a bunch of little tiny numbers written in. This one has the exact same lines but no numbers. So you need to have all 3 pieces of paper out like that. Okay, because we're going to talk about each one and their purpose and what you can use and not use and that sort of thing. Okay, so if you don't have that, please stop the video. So the first page we're going to look at looks like this, and it is 2-sided. It has problems on our answers on the back. So this is where you're going to submit your final answers. This is the only paper that I will grade anything off of. Okay, I don't care if you have everything written on those other papers. The only thing I will grade is this paper here. Now what I want you to notice is that I do have grand total, I believe it's 11 angles that I give you as starter angles. Okay, so there's about 11 angles there. There's some on the back that I give you as starter angles. So keep that in the back of your mind for a second. Okay, so now if you can pull out the paper that has all the lines and the little teeny tiny numbers. On this paper, all of those numbers are angle numbers. Not a single one of them are degrees. Okay, so every one of them is an angle number. So like when you see 56 right here, that is not 56 degrees. That is just angle number 56. All right, now I gave you those 11 starter angles. So what I recommend is you take a pen, something permanent, more permanent than what a pencil would be, or you can even use a highlighter if you want to highlight later on. And I want you to go ahead and write in all those starter angles. So for instance, angle 1 I gave you to be 70 degrees. So I'm going to write that in red. Okay, so it'll take a couple minutes to go ahead and write in all 11 starter angles. Okay, so once you're done, well, I would pause the video, and then once you're done, go ahead and hit play again. Okay, now that you have all your numbers labeled, this is where, like, if you wrote in pencil, maybe highlight those, because those are your given numbers, meaning you know those are correct. There's going to be at some point where you'll probably make some little goofball error, and you're going to need to go back and figure out what's right, what's wrong, that sort of thing. And at least this way you know which ones I actually gave you. All right, now, I want you to look back at your answer sheet again. Okay, on this answer sheet, there's some really important information right up here at the top. So right up here at the top, I'm telling you on that line paper, we actually have 4 lines that are parallel. A, B, C, and D are all parallel to each other. E and F are parallel to each other, but keep in mind these are 2 different statements. A, B, not all 6 of those lines they're not all parallel to each other. Okay, so switch back to your numbered paper. Okay, so what that means for us is that lines A, B, C, and D are all parallel to each other. So I'm going to highlight here. If you'd like to highlight, you can. Some people like to do that, some people don't. But A, B, C, and D are parallel to each other. All 4 of those lines are parallel to each other. Now, E and F are also parallel to each other. But again, remember the 6 are not all parallel. Okay, so I highlighted those in 2 different colors just so I can remember and distinguish that. Now, the reason I tell you that is because remember how we started with putting in the angles that we know, right? So if angle 1 was 70 degrees, those parallel lines, we created transversals. So that means, for instance, that angle 1 and 34 are corresponding angles because those are parallel lines. Well, we have another set of parallel lines With 63, that angle is going to be 70. Same with 67. Okay, so you're going to use your angles that you're given and your parallel lines in order to find all the 186 angles. Okay, now you're also given one other sheet of paper. This sheet of paper is exactly the same, except I took all the little numbers out. Sometimes people just get way overwhelmed with all those little numbers in there, so they prefer to go ahead and say, okay, this is 70, and because of parallel lines, those are 70, and then later on go back and transfer it. Okay, so a couple of hints for you as you go. Okay, so first of all, don't fill out the answer key until you're done. Okay, don't fill out the answer sheet until you are done. Because what's going to happen is that, again, you'll make a mistake somewhere and you'll start erasing. But then you'll forget to go back and erase your answer page. And you would have had them right on the actual line paper, but then you didn't put the right ones back onto the answer page. Okay? Now, I know some of you are going to completely disregard me, and then you're going to miss some. So trust me, I do this enough that I know. Okay? Another thing, all angles are multiples of 5. So you should never have a 62-degree angle. So they'll all end in 5s or 0s. Okay? Third thing, you can work together. However, I want you to be very careful about that, because it'd be really easy for me to say, oh, by the way, angle number 7 is 30 degrees, and you just write that down. And if I'm wrong, then our papers are going to be really wrong together. So I really, really, really recommend trying to do what you can on your own first, then maybe for trying to get a hint from somebody else. And then at the end, compare them. Sure, I don't care. But I just don't rely on somebody else's answers, because it'll bite you, and it could bite you in the rear end. All right? Okay, the next thing, I'm only grading the answer page. Okay, we are only grading the answer page. I don't care how much you have done on the other papers. I'm only grading that answer page. So you have to trade your answers over. If you're having a hard time transferring your answers back and forth, read them to someone, okay? So read the answers to somebody else, even if it's your mom or dad, it doesn't matter, to copy down if you're having a hard time going back and forth between page to page. All right. Okay, anything else? Go ahead and email me. You can talk. Oh, I do have one more hint. Sorry. Remember, if you get stuck, remember this little hint. All triangles add up to be 180 degrees. Okay, so if you can make a triangle somehow, big, small, medium, doesn't matter, all 3 of those angles should add up to be 180 degrees. So if you get stuck, this is huge. Okay, this is huge. Okay, and remember, you always have the option of emailing me if you get stuck. Tell me, and maybe I can help you. If you can include a picture maybe of what you have, that would probably be helpful as well. But again, work together, see what you can do, look for those triangles, and I have on your syllabus when this is due.